Hello, truth seekers. Lawrence here, and welcome to Easy Enlightenment. So, in the spiritual world, there is this reference called the path is the destination. Now, what does it mean to you? The path is the destination. Or are you lost with this information? Let me explain what does it mean. The path is the destination means taking the seat of the observer. And taking the seat of the observer itself is the path and the destination. Because when you see the truth, when the ego gives up, there is a realization that the truth itself is the consciousness. And taking the seat of the observer is taking the seat of the consciousness. So that's what it means. So if you take the seat of the observer, you are already taking the seat of the consciousness. You're taking this, you're anchoring in your own true nature. That's the start, okay? That's the start. Because you need to be an observer when you start the journey. And the observer's self itself will make you see the truth. Now, there is a big misunderstanding on this reference. The path is the destination. Now, you guys are, interested. There is the willingness. There is the effort to be free or to see the truth, and you are maintaining the practice, and somehow you see your practice. Somehow you assume that your practice is gonna lead you towards the destination, uh, and it depends. Okay, the practice depends whether the practice will lead you toward the truth or not. And here's the um, reference. If your practice is about examining the mind, or dismantling the mind, or dismantling the ego, then yes, you are in the right path towards reclaiming who you are as consciousness. But if your effort is not about dismantling the mind or ego, then you're inviting layers, you're inviting further refined mind, and your and experiences, and that is just simply adding more layers in the mind. And more layers coming in makes the ego to be more stubborn. Ego is already stubborn, and inviting further refined experience and knowledge makes the ego more stubborn. And the thing is that the stubborn ego is already there. Whether refined knowledge is coming in or not, the ego is always stubborn. So that's the difference. If you're dismantling, you're in the right path. If you're inviting layers, you are keeping yourself away from who you are and lost in the mental identification and the experience of the world. Okay, so that is the difference of spiritual journey going nowhere and the spiritual journey actually taking you towards the final destination. Now, people also think, assume that spiritual journey is a lifelong journey. When people have this assumption in them, path is the destination, this idea can be twisted in the person. Now, people associate, align with the God, and people think this God is the universal power, and aligning with this universal power, honoring this power, respecting this power is going to help the person to uh, allow, this power is helping the person to go through the smooth movement in life. So when people associate with the God and devoting to the God, then this idea, path is the destination, um, becomes kind of true to them, especially when the experience is coming in a uplifted manner, when there's experience of life and death, and somehow the person overcome the death experience, then that experience can make the person anchor in the idea of God and makes the person believe that God is doing the work to save the person. So this is the reason the idea of God is so ingrained in the people. And when that is there, people are devoting their time to God, and this is how people see that path is the destination, is associating with the devotion to the God. But people don't recognize that the true freedom is about seeing one's own true nature. Don't realize that it's an inward journey. Don't realize that the truth is within. The essence of God is within, which is the unchanging, absolute truth already present. And a spiritual journey is about moving backward, inward, to that stateless state. That's the journey. So, the true reference for me about the path and the destination, path is the destination, is the taking the seat of the observer. Observer is the consciousness itself. You are consciousness. And the nature of the consciousness is conscious and empty. So when you are taking this observer's seat of the observer, you are disengaging from the mind and just observing, witnessing yourself and the world without adding layers. And that is the start. Taking the seat of the observer is the start of the spiritual journey. It's not the end yet in the beginning. Why? Because there's life is already conditioned. There's so much fear, so much mental fluctuation, which is basically is the fear. So much fear in life. When the fear is there, then we need to work on the fear. Just by taking the seat of the observer, the pre existing fear is not dissolved, it's not understood yet. So we need to recognize how the fear come into life and how the fear take the driver's seat in life and how the fear is, manipulating us. So that understanding, that recognition has to take place to disengage from the fear. So taking the seat of the observer is the start. And then we need to use that to trace the fear backward to figure out the root cause of the fear. Not just that, we need to dismantle the root altogether, all the way until there is no layer of limitation is left. And when that is done, when we ask ourselves, who am I? Then we click. If the thorough dismantling work is there of the mind or the fear, then that is a preparation. That when you ask ourselves, who am I? Then we click. When the click itself is seeing the truth, that that moment is the ego self is recognizing that the ego cannot comprehend the truth, and that's where the ego gives up. And that's where we realize that consciousness is the truth. And then we completely rest in who we are and see the mind is the byproduct of the experience. We are not the mind. We can associate with the mind, but we are not the mind. We are the one that allows the experience and mind to appear and disappear in us. And that's it. So, because of the fear, taking the seat of the observer is the start, and we need to work backward and inward in dismantling the fear or tracing the fear backward. And that is the journey that will lead you to see the absolute, the unchanging truth within. And that's when the truth is seen, that's the end of the spiritual journey. And easy living begins, non conflicting journey begins after seeing the truth. And then you are totally there. Now life is, then you that when you see the truth, then you real that when you see the truth, then path is the destination makes sense. Now path and destination is witnessing and living from that state stateless states of who we are. Okay, that's the journey, guys. So um, path and the destination is about taking the seat of the consciousness or taking the seat of the observer. So, take the seat of the observer and do the work in dismantling the fear, dismantling the mind, because life is already ingrained in the mind. So that's why the work is needed. Anyway, I hope this video makes sense. I hope this is pointing you towards the direction. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Take care for now. Bye.